Seriously, that is like, and then cancer, like, it cures cancer too.
People are under the idea that it just helps with the pain of cancer,
No,
but
it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
Especially skin cancers, even where the treatment is it's obvious and irrefutable how clearly it helps. Appetite is a fundamental symptom thing that's essential for quality of life, right? But guess what? How many of you have done Molly, MDMA? Any kind of ecstasy? All right, I need your names and addresses now on the list, if I may.
What is
I'm willing to do all those things.
Hold on. So
What is mescaline?
MDMA.
Yeah.
Hold on,
It's
We'll
psychedelic.
get to this.
It's been a long time,
But MDMA is the the pure form of ecstasy or Molly, and for those of you who know the experience, it does put you in a different state of connectedness. Now, I personally, I do think it has some dangers, and in talking about all these things, we should say that if you can do it safely, responsibly, respectfully, and in a way with a deliberate purpose, in a way that's educated, we all at least owe it to ourselves to have done the research and considered all of these different parts of the human experience, so that when presented with the opportunity, we can make an educated decision one way or another. Personally, I think Molly is not a very good recreational drug, and I have personally at least a problem with it in that I get a bad kind of hangover from having too much dopamine squeezed out of my brain. So but here's the crazy thing about this: 2 sessions for guys who have PTSD and like serious symptomatic clinical PTSD. 2 sessions on Molly, pure MDMA, with a supervised therapist cures it from a clinical standpoint. Major symptoms gone. And that's how much it costs to make 2 doses of MDMA. 50 cents. I mean, it's insignificant. How much do they charge for a bottle of Prozac that you're going to be on for the rest of your life? I went to the VA when I was having trouble sleeping when I got back from Iraq, and I ran a peer support group for vets with PTSD in DC, Homefront Battle Buddies, and we saw the guys who did the status drugs and drank their way into bottles and destroyed their lives, versus the guys at least who smoked pot were able to go through the talk therapy to deal with their issues and overcome them. But MDMA, you can cure it in 2 sessions. And I understand why, how it does it, how it chemically induces a certain openness. Like, this was originally being developed as a therapeutic drug in the 80s. And then people started having fun with it, so we had to make it illegal for your safety. And it has things that are like, it has risks. It has, Suicide Tuesday, right? Came about.
Prozac has risks.
Oh yeah, of course. No. And obviously my point is weigh the risks rationally. And Prozac has far worse risks. But psychedelics.
Being that we're on the topic of drugs, psychedelics, I know you've tried and done DMT. Can you touch upon that?
Sure. Well, DMT is almost a...
I've never done it, and I'm looking to.
Compared
And you're
to-
one of the few people I know have done it, and I personally interact
Sure.
with.
Well, compared to... Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, I did my first 6 DMT experiences. This was kind of
It
really
was on
like
camera, wasn't it?
crazy.
A few of them, at
Like,
least, yeah.
Hey, you're going to do DMT for the first time. Want to record it for YouTube? And it was like, yeah. Went so well, we did it 5 more times. It was really entertaining, but I think by the second or third time, people kind of got the point. But DMT is a really different experience. I almost don't put it in the same category as the other psychedelics.
It's shorter, right? It's shorter.
Yeah, it's much shorter. It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's
It's
what I
it's
From
it's a
what I understand.
5 to 15 minute period
Yeah.
of your eyes being closed, your brain turns itself inside out. A certain psychedelic patterns and colors. And things
Body,
like that.
out of body experiences and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard stories, people literally watching themselves leave their body.
That's
You're
death.
looking, it's weird.
Right? Isn't that death?
Well, I think the mind can create a lot of things in that state. And it's
Absolutely.
and it
Absolutely.
does have an effect of increasing self-knowledge just by going through that exercise.
I've
But
also
acid-
heard, I don't mean to interject, that the DMT molecule is the only universal molecule in every living organism.
Yes. So it's
you're already guilty of possession right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Because
It's
it's-
developed in your brain. It's what when you sleep and you have those dreams.
49
And
days after you're conceived, there's a DMT spark that goes off in the fetus that chooses whether
49.
49 days
This
after
was
conception.
determined? Wow.
49 days after
Interesting.
conception, there's a DMT spark that goes off in the fetus that chooses whether or not you're going to be male or female. Then another DMT spark goes off when you're born. You can attain DMT states during states of meditation or during dreams, and then you have a DMT. Your last DMT spark is when you're dying.
Wow.
Anything natural and healthy, they're going to make illegal or criminalized.
So, yes.
Yeah, I would
Like
agree with
collecting
that.
rainwater now?
They're trying to do it with supplements and vitamins and things like that. At least regulate them heavily.
And but your normal healthy feelings are criminal. I mean, just being and feeling healthy things is criminal.
So DMT is actually the derivative of ayahuasca. It's
Yes.
a purified form of what was traditionally developed as what would be a long, like day-long kind of meditative experience.
12 hours.
On day-long.
Like the tea,
Okay,
right,
so-
or something. They drink the tea.
Yeah,
There
you drink-
was a church in Utah. I watched a couple documentaries.
Right. So you would go through this as a process with a shaman, and it was a very deliberate thing. And in that sense, I think it's much more similar to acid and mushrooms. And depending on your own physiology, mushrooms can be from as little as 3 or 4 hours, usually more like 5 or 6, to as long as you want to keep it. But it's also very safe in that sense that you know it's out of your system, you're clear of it. I actually have had more physical effects from mushrooms of discomfort than with acid. I think acid is more comfortable for me. But there's something about these longer term experiences with expanding your own consciousness that increase self-awareness that relates in a very important way to freedom. So I'm going to bring it back to that. There's one other big one we missed though on this list that people are afraid to point out that people are doing differently. Anybody guess what it is? One thing
Being more vocal,
inherently criminal.
inherently
A lot of libertarians
criminal.
doing heroin.
No, that's not it.
Yeah, your First Amendment protest.
That's what I said. Being more vocal.
It's
Taxes?
Taxes. And it can be completely legal with no liability.
But
Although
I just wanted it to move ahead.
Oh, okay.
it's
We'll
almost
be stuck
TikTok,
on this for
TikTok.
45 minutes.
it's almost impossible to not break the tax law in some way. And you know this very well, right? There's a book now written by a Columbia professor called 3 Felonies a Day. The
Yeah.
average American.
Average
commits
American.
3 felonies a day, and most of it's in the course of normal financial transactions.
And that's referring to law-abiding,
law-abiding people.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're
Supposedly.
trying
Yeah, that's-
to follow
that's
the law
hence the air quote.
completely, it's still impossible at this point. But when you realize that government uses most of the money that you give it to hurt people, or at least enough of it to make it morally culpable, you at least rearrange your life to minimize your tax liability because you learn to value the satisfaction in living by these values. But there are a couple other things too, and what we all know that we're on the right side of history just by the way that people wake up, the nature of gaining this awareness that nobody goes back to statism.
Once you're awake, you can't go back to sleep.
Exactly.
That's impossible.
Awaken versus asleep is not the perfect metaphor.
No, but it works
in
among
that,
us at
and
least.
because you don't go back to sleep. And as much as we see the inevitability of that, there's a deeper trend of human realization, of actualization, that is so much more important. And taking charge of your health. We didn't really get into that too much. That's a really big one. And we talked about growing your own food. Of course, that's a foundation of it. But even exercise, not trusting the medical establishment, that's usually something that people bring
They're
up.
just
I'm
like
not gonna
car
take
salesmen. They need to sell you drugs to put food on the table, just the way a car salesman
Sure.
needs to sell a car.
So
Not taking flu shots and all.
not take the other one we didn't touch on is a big one is raising free range children, as in not vaccinating your kids, taking them out of
Oh,
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Not getting a marriage license?
That's a great one. Also, you see, there's something that
I need the
one that
government
we
to
always like
approve
point
all
out,
of my commitments.
yoga. Does anybody notice there's a little increase?
Yoga? This is a whole song.
Even in this male-dominated INTJ movement, there's still
Didn't you just put out a yoga video?
We're going to.
We're going to.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I could have sworn. I
I've talked
thought
about it. I've
maybe
done
that's what it
posts
was.
about
Yeah,
it.
maybe
And
that's
I
what it
talk
was.
about it 'cause I
Stretching
really
is
think
great.
No,
It's good for everybody.
yoga
Plus,
was
it's
originally
meditation.
developed as a warm-up for meditation.
Yeah.
right.
And that's the most important part of it. Yes, connecting with your body is nice. Yes, the exercise value is great. But every good yoga session ends with 5 to 15 minutes of just relaxed meditation when you're in that state of exhaustion and enjoying that mind-body connection. And everybody owes it to themselves to try yoga at least 3 or 4 times. And I mean to get a range of experiences, because you can do what to me might be a really lame, boring, meditative, restorative class, or you can do a super intense hour-and-a-half Bikram hot yoga.
That's what I've been
You'll kick
interested
your
in.
ass.
Have you done that?
Yeah, more
I'm
than a
interested in
military
that.
workout. Like, I mean, you'll come out. You'll
I've
drink
never
an
done
entire
yoga, but
gallon
I
of
want to
water
do that
in
as
an hour and a half
baptism
and be
through
done
fire.
for the day. Like, you can't do anything else after that. It is that intense of a workout if you choose to
Thank you,
engage in
baby.
it that way. But for the guys, and I know it's still a male-dominated movement, if you ever feel like any self-consciousness about this, or that you're going to be judged for yoga, there's only one thing you have to say, and all that goes away. It's the best thing since sliced bread. Yoga pants. That's it. That's all you have to say. I
Some
stand in the back
politician
of the room,
somewhere
I
was looking
enjoy
to
the view.
ban them.
You'll have just that. But what comes with all of this, psychedelics, taking charge of your health, your life, your mind, your lifestyle, engineering your own happiness, is a certain self-awareness. You guys want to feel just a little bit more free in about 30 seconds? You want to do a little exercise with me?
Sure.
Let's meditate.
All right. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in, and consider for just a moment that everything is right in the universe. And take a deep exhale and slowly open your eyes.
Everything's better now.
You see a little bit of what we did there, at least.
Absolutely.
I want to come back to this because what's coming with this is a sense
We
of
just ended racism.
this person who gets this
I get it.
can no longer be
just
manipulated
playing.
by fear. And people are getting this from all sorts of different venues for themselves. I mean, I used to run barefoot. That was my meditation. You know, now we do yoga together. We work out. We have our time for that. But when I was in Fallujah, I was the guy who would wake up early, singing songs, telling stories and jokes, and getting the guys on my team in a good mood. And you've seen people in every field of human endeavors engage in something that they're passionate about, that draws all of their energy and all of their talent and demands their full attention. And it's a beautiful thing to see someone in the Zen state of engagement, right? And I had that when I was in Iraq. I believed in what we were doing. When I found myself in jail a few years later for civil disobedience on my government-induced taxpayer-funded spiritual retreat.
Say that again.
Government-induced taxpayer-funded spiritual retreat.
Love it. You
In
should
a
get it
beautifully
patented.
manicured, gated community with 24
Trademark that.
I did enjoy my time in jail. I had a lot of time to think. And I found myself in that same state of engagement, really believing in what I was doing, but almost with a greater sense of purpose and righteousness than I could have ever had from anything